a lot of NFT projects likely won't provide much utility sort of like moving forward. They might provide access, but I have a feeling that like the upcoming meta might be utility consolidation, because during the bull run, I think a lot of projects focused on doing all sorts of utility, right? And not really having like kind of like focused utility. But I think that people, or that NFT projects and the founders will start to focus on the things that they're actually good at.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Wolfson, the host and founder of Web3 Deep Dive Podcast. Web3 Deep Dive Podcast focuses on real-world Web3 use cases to help you better understand how Web3 is being applied today and how it may be leveraged in the future. If this sounds interesting, I encourage you to subscribe, like, and share the content that you're seeing today to help spread the word about Web3. I also want to take this time to thank the sponsors behind Web3 Deep Dive Podcast. Worsta is producing Web3 Deep Dive Podcast and is a global technology consultancy agency with headquarters in Austin, Texas, and Quito, Ecuador. Worsta works with enterprises to help them make better technology decisions for their businesses. I also want to take the time to thank Banksa. Banksa is a leading crypto infrastructure payments provider. Be sure to check out Banksa for your Web3 project today. And without further ado, let's get started with Web3 Deep Dive. In this episode, I'll be interviewing Jamieson Hill. Jamieson is the founder and creator of the NFT artwork project, Shellz Orb. Without further ado, let's get to today's episode. Hey, Jamieson, how's it going?
Hi, Rachel. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. I'm doing great. Thanks for joining us here in Austin at the Web3 Deep Dive studio.
No, thanks for having me. I need an excuse to come to Austin. I love this place.
Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I live here now.
Right.
Now.
Right. Today I live in Austin. Tomorrow I could live in Afghanistan. What are the options, right? Like
Miami.
Miami's good.
Yeah, Miami's
not
good.
right now though. It's too hot.
Right, but Austin's pretty warm.
You know, ideally you go north for the summer, right?
Right.
You hang out in like Wyoming.
Oh wow, yeah, with Caitlin Long.
Yeah, Caitlin Long. I don't know who that is,
okay.
But you know, if there's one person up there to hang out with, that'd be great.
One crypto person, yeah.
Yeah, one crypto person, yeah. We go visit her.
Exactly.
And it's cool up there.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so Jamieson, you are the creator and founder of Shellz Orb.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about what Shellz Orb is.
Yeah, so Shellz Orb is the highest quality and most intricate NFT project ever to be put onto the blockchain. We have about 300 gigabytes of PNG images stored on IPFS, and we have the most traits of any collection of our size. So there's 2,500 traits in the collection. It took our team of 8 artists about 6 months to draw like the entire collection. Everything's hand drawn. So in comparison, Bored Ape, on this website called Trait Sniper, which is like how you determine rarity, the maximum rarity is like 3.5, and our minimum rarity is 350. So the collection's about 100 times more rare than Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Got it. Okay, so it's a rare collection. So when did you found, or when did you create this collection?
So the project started about 1.5 years ago, and I was living out in Los Angeles, and a buddy of mine who's a director, producer, came to me with this movie idea called The Black Turtle. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll produce this. This is a pretty good movie idea. I went to one of my friends. I was like, hey, I'm working on this movie. She's like, oh, I'll put in 25 grand. I go, oh, shit, really? Okay. And then, okay, so now I have 25 grand, and I'm like, fuck. Well, like, what do I do with this? Like I can't make a movie with 25 grand, right? I need to like multiply this money. And so NFTs, you know, I'd sort of known about them and I was working for some companies that kind of did NFTs. I was like, all right, I'll do a project, and maybe we'll raise some money and we'll be able to make a movie with that money. And so we started this kind of project about turtles, and we since dropped it from that original movie and sort of created its own IP as it evolved, and we attracted Voyager, who's our lead artist. He used to work on Magic the Gathering, League of Legends, and he was a voted Adobe 25 under 25. So we found him. He submitted this kind of like iconic drawing of what became Shellz Orb. And then we realized that these NFTs take a really long time to draw. And so we hired a bunch more artists and ended up launching a pre-sale out in the bear market August 10th of 2022. It was a crazy ride, as you know, many of the people that were in NFTs in that year. It was like peak bull market, collections selling out at 1 ETH a piece, you know, raising $25 million on a collection. You know, big brands like Azuki came out of that time. And then we had, you know, ApeCoin, and then the Terra Luna crash. And so what sort of happened was the Terra Luna crash drove Ethereum all the way down to like about $800. People hated NFTs. They really like sort of like didn't want to touch them. A lot of companies went belly up. I remember, you know, we were just at VCon last week or so. The year before, I was literally hanging out with one of my buddies. It was like a big NFT influencer dude, this guy Hunter Oral, and he got a call from a guy, and he sort of like looked sad on the phone, and then he comes back over and he's like, that was the third friend that called me this week that they just shut down their project. Done. Closed the doors, right? Because a lot of people didn't manage their treasuries properly, right? They were if you held Ethereum and you held Ethereum from 3,500 all the way down to 800. I mean, you don't have to be a mathematician to know that that's like a huge shrink. Like taking a 75% hit on your principal balance of company funds is absolutely wild. But it created a really interesting opportunity inside of the market for a company like ours to sort of like, I guess, you know, rise to the top and succeed. Because since there was so many projects that died, the projects that were left and were still doing stuff, and the community managers that were working on projects trying to suss out things and come up with stuff to sort of like whitelists and whatnot to give to their communities, all of that dried up. And so when we came with our project and that offering, they started to say yes. And our project, you know, went from 5,000 followers on Twitter to like a peak of 80,000 in, I don't know, 3 weeks or something. Mm-hmm. And then we were able to sell out in just under 2 hours, or I'm sorry, just over 2 hours.
And this was all during the bear market?
So yeah, exactly. We sold out on August 10th, 2022. We were supposed to be the first project to launch on Binance's decentralized exchange, but CZ never launched the decentralized exchange. And so we ended up just minting that day on our own sort of proprietary website. And there were 5 other projects that day that didn't sell out. And I think 80 or 90% of the projects that month also failed to sell out.
So what was it about Shellz Orb that, you know, allowed it to be such a success in a bear market?
So we focused, A1 on quality, right? And so a lot of projects, they launch, you know, the realm or the meta of a 10K collection with 200 or 300 trades. We went and, you know, we 10x'd that. Everything I've done in my entire career, I've wanted it to be super high quality, right? So like when we filmed the podcast and whatnot, you know, I had $30,000 of camera gear, right? You know, much like a similar setup to what we're sort of like working on right here, right? 4K video, like really like good quality lenses. And so I took that sort of mentality and I applied it to the NFT project. And since it took us so long to launch, people knew about us, right? We were actively talking with people inside of the community, and we developed this mantra of launch whenever you want. I'm minting. Like, the quality's just that good. Like, I want it because of the art. I want it because you're actually going to deliver to me something that I'm going to like.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about traits, because I think this is an important part of Shellz Orb and the collection. So let's just back up a little bit for people that are just entering the Web3 space. So what does it mean for NFTs to have traits, and why is that important?
Yeah. So traits, okay, so in crypto you have your fungible coins, and then you have your non-fungible. Non-fungible means 100% unique, right? And the uniqueness is the picture and the traits. So you can have different rarities inside of traits. For instance, if I have 3D glasses, right, there might only be 100 instances out of 10,000 3D glasses inside of this collection. In certain collections, that might be pretty rare. And so when there's these algorithms inside of these tools that sort of like calculate what rarity is, the traits and how many of them in the collection make up what's called this rarity score. And the top 10% of most collections is, quote unquote, like the most desirable part of an NFT collection. And it's what collectors will pay typically more for. So if an NFT is trading at, 0.1, roughly $200, they might pay close to an ETH, 10x, maybe 20x for an NFT that is in, the top 10% or the top 5% or the top 1%, right? Of, it's basically something that doesn't look like what everybody else has. Mm-hmm. So, we're using these PFPs, profile pictures, as digital identities. And even though you're a part of a community, you want to sort of set yourself apart and be able to brag about, I have the different one, right? Or I have this, in NFTs we call it grails, right? This is the grail NFT, right? Like in the Bored Ape collection, there's gold apes and they're grails, right? Because there's not too many of them, and they sell for a 20x multiple on what just like a base sort of Bored Ape sells for.
Right. And
that traits are what sort of like make it up.
Right. So what are your thoughts on the NFT market today? Because, you've been in this industry for a while, and I have also, and we saw this period of time when artwork NFTs were the thing and people were spending so much money to acquire them. And now we're kind of at a point, and maybe you think differently, but maybe we're at a point where it's like we're still seeing artwork NFTs, but a lot of it is focused on utility now. What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think I'm wrong or right? Or, do you agree with me? Do you think artwork NFTs are still a thing?
So artwork is a thing, right? Artwork will never die, right? As time goes on, I believe, most art and good art appreciates, and sometimes that happens because less of it is on the market, right? So as an art NFT first sort of launches, there's tons of people selling the stuff and reselling it and trying to make a quick buck, etc. But then a year later, typically it's not as many. So sometimes it can sort of like go up in value because there's just not that many sellers. And you get one piece of news or one little like kind of pump, all of a sudden everybody's excited about it again, but maybe 50% of your holders like their NFT and they don't want to get rid of it. or they forgot about it, or they left, or they left the space, or it might be the middle of the summer and they're on summer vacation with their family. So no, the price just, like tripled, but they're not going to sell that NFT. So it might triple again, or it might 10x, et cetera. There's just like a whole slew of things that go into what values an NFT, right? A lot of the time, and like something that we prided ourselves in was building a community and having people chatting on Discord, and we have moderators and community managers, and I sort of I watch sometimes like what how these guys communicate with the members and whatnot, and people just want to talk about real stuff. They want to talk about they got a new car, or their girlfriend's upset, or their boyfriend's upset, or they went to work today, and people just want to have a home, right? And we have one channel in our Discord that always has people talking in the VC. It's called Games and Chill, right? Always playing League of Legends or whatever, Counter-Strike, Fortnite, whatever the game is of the day, but they're just always in there just hanging out and chilling. And that's what I think community is sort of built on. Utility, it's got strange sort of terms in this kind of a market, right? I think a lot of NFT projects likely won't provide much utility sort of like moving forward. They might provide access, but I have a feeling that like the upcoming meta might be utility consolidation, because during the bull run, I think a lot of projects focused on doing all sorts of utility, right? And not really having like kind of like focused utility. But I think that people, or that NFT projects and the founders will start to focus on the things that they're actually good at, and then provide that back to their holders. One good example is alpha groups, right? These are like, sometimes like token gated communities where the founder does a lot of research on NFTs or does a lot of research on stocks and just provides this information to the holders year round, right? That's good utility. Why? Because this person's being authentic. They're being genuine. They're not giving you something that might disappear in the future. If you get into a collection because of airdrops or because of giveaways, that stuff isn't necessarily sustainable, right? The airdrops are going to go away at some point. As we see with, like Bored Ape Yacht Club, the airdrop sort of meta is like the cadence is slowing down, right? Because they're sort of like running out of things that they can give to the community, right? Azuki, they airdropped beans, and then they haven't done anything for almost a year, right? That community happens to be thriving, probably just because the floor price tends to sort of like bounce around at a high level. So people still talk about it, and they still scalp it, and they still arb it, and they still trade it. But, we're working on an upcoming drop, at the art studio, and we're going to focus the drop on only having one piece of utility. This utility is a pass to get into parties. That's it. And then we'll throw parties, and if you have certain traits at that party, you get certain upgrades and perks. So, right, like let's say you have this rare sword. At this party, you get a table with a bottle, right? And all you have to do is to go and download, token proof app. You just had Fonz on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fonz might be on the last episode.
I think Fonz is going to be on the episode before this one. But anyways, yeah.
I don't. If you go in chronological order, I don't know.
Right. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Just make sure to upload it, not as children content.
Right, because as we were discussing before this conversation, I've been uploading all of the YouTube videos for children I think it's interesting. I think children need to learn about Web3, but as you've stated, this is not a cartoon.
No, this is not a cartoon. I don't think that 4-year-olds need to be learning about the blockchain just yet. They want to watch, a Pudgy Penguin. Like if Pudgy Penguin did a show, maybe that would be for children.
Yeah, definitely.
And they were talking about ABCs and numbers and cars and rocket ships and
B is for Bitcoin and
B,
E is for Ethereum.
B is for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's good enough for me.
I think you should work with them on this project, Jameson, and sing that song.
Who Bitcoin?
The Pudgy Penguins.
Should
make a cartoon.
Dude, Pudgy Penguins though.
Yeah, let's talk about Pudgy Penguins.
What a comeback. Luca, this guy, it's interesting. So he bought the Pudgy Penguins, I don't know, close to a year ago. He took their Instagram from not that many followers, started posting every day all these like happy, cute videos, grew the thing to 500,000. I think he's got one of the strongest Instagram presences of any NFT Web3 brand, and then sold $500,000 of plush toys to Amazon in one day. And I don't know if they're keep selling, but we were at VCon and you probably saw them.
I got a free Pudgy Penguin toy.
You got
a stuffed penguin thing.
So I try to take home as least merch as possible from these events because I travel with this carry-on that just can't really fit anything else in it.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a nomad, so I don't really need the plush Pudgy.
Right.
If I was going home, maybe I'd put it on a shelf or something like that. But it's more important to me that people like you got some plush Pudgies.
Yeah. Well, also, like going back to Pudgy Penguin, right? Okay, yes. Pudgy Penguin.
The Pudgy Penguin.
Yes.
And then there's Lil Pudgy Penguins too. They're much more affordable.
Oh, okay, got it. We can also talk about that as well. But before we get into the more affordable collections, is there utility behind Pudgy Penguins, or are they just simply artwork NFTs?
So they are artwork, and I don't know what the deal with these plushies and the Pudgy Penguins sort of has to do, but I do know that they have a strong community. So they have a lot of people on the inside that they just love hanging out with their in that Pudgy Penguins community. They love repping it as a profile picture. They love using it as their digital identity. And Pudgy Penguins also throws parties at, a couple times a year at Web3 events. And so, that's utility. I don't know if they've gamified it too much, but the utility and what's interesting about these Pudgy plushies is that each Pudgy plushie comes with a pack of traits. And so now you can take this pack, open it up like a digital baseball card, sort of pack, and in the future or right now, I'm not sure the timing on the actual web development, but you'll be able to take these traits and put them onto like a new digital collectible and trade them with your friends or whatever. But essentially, I think what Luca is doing amazing is he's onboarding people that might have just fallen in love with this Pudgy meme, 500,000 people, and now giving them, whether they know it or not, a digital asset. Mm-hmm. Now, when they find out in a year that, their super rare Halo hat that they got is worth $5,000, they might be onboarded for life.
Right.
Whoa.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like this, what are you talking about? And they're gonna tell all their friends. And when they tell all their friends, it's gonna be really good for Web3 and blockchain as a whole. I really do believe in, the quote unquote Web 2 to Web 3 onboarding process. And I think companies that are going to find actual revenue streams and non-residual only revenue streams will they will be the companies that probably are able to withstand the volatility of our markets.
Mm-hmm. Banxa is the leading crypto on and off ramp solution. Through an extensive and growing network of global and local payment solutions and regulatory licenses, Banxa helps businesses provide seamless integration of crypto and fiat for global audiences safely and compliantly with lower fees and higher conversion rates. For more information on how to integrate Banxa into your project or product, visit banxa.com. It's interesting. This whole conversation has been interesting because I feel like a lot of the time I'm in here talking to people about NFTs with real world utility, and you mentioned, the parties, and you're coming out with a collection for that. But I think that this conversation solidifies the fact that artwork NFTs are not dead.
No.
They're very much alive. And I think from what I've been hearing lately, a lot of people are down on artwork NFTs because of the market. But at the end of the day, from what you're saying, it sounds like NFT art, pieces of art are still there and they will continue to increase in value.
Yeah. And you also, so there's another category of NFT art, which I think is super important, and that's historical NFT art. So for instance, CryptoKitties, historical NFT art, right? The first sort of on-chain breeding NFT. CryptoPunks were, I believe, and I could be wrong, the first quote-unquote NFT stored 100% on-chain, no link to another image, right? Fully not immutable, you can't change it. The CryptoPunk's the CryptoPunk. Things like Fidenza's, Tyler Hobbs, and a lot of the art that is fully 100% generated by a computer and the blockchain and data on the blockchain. Art Blocks is sort of the main place where these essentially computer algorithms are stored and then sold as NFTs on the blockchain based off of the data from the mint. Based off of, your wallet address could be included, and maybe that sort of the other information inside of that block could be included. And so some of the earlier ones on those, I think are pretty cool. And now you have Bitcoin ordinals.
Right, I'm glad you brought that up.
BRC20s.
Yeah, explain that, by the way, for our listeners that may not be aware.
By the way, that one went off. Oh, that's the one that's on. Oh, he's doing live switching. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, shout out to Alex.
Oh, shout
out to Alex for being awesome.
Over there doing the live switching. Oh, it's on you now. You're scared. Oh, man, that's cool.
Cool. Okay.
We're in a real movie studio.
We are thanks to Alex. But on that note, let's talk about Bitcoin ordinals. So explain what a Bitcoin ordinal is, and then we can go from there. Yeah.
So essentially, the smallest unit of Bitcoin is a Satoshi. So a Satoshi is 1/1,000,000th of a Bitcoin, right? And so somebody figured out not too long ago that you can store data on this smallest unit of a Bitcoin, and somebody figured out a sort of a protocol to put that data on there and store a JPEG or a PNG or whatever kind of pixelated image it is. Now, you can't store anything that's really all of that high quality, but you can store a really low resolution image of almost anything. So projects like DGods took, 537 of their burned NFTs and released them as ordinals. They sold them for, I believe, half a Bitcoin each, or maybe a little bit more than half a Bitcoin, and raised $5 million.
When was this?
This was just 2 months ago. It was right around the time of ETH Denver.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. So March 2023 this year. Yeah.
And so the DGods, or the BTC DGods, they actually are under 100,000 inscriptions. Since then, there's been just about, or I believe over 9 million NFTs minted on that blockchain, which is insane. And so when you talk about, provenance and historical value, it's quite interesting because you go to I believe right now that there wasn't marketplaces for a while, and now Magic Eden has kind of been the place where you can go and you can buy and sell ordinals.
Right.
But the provenance is really strict now. So you have, they call the earliest ones the most rare, which I think is a little bit backwards, right? It means that new NFTs and new NFT collections can't really come into the mix and have a provenance by the way it's being sort of circulated or structured now, right? Because I can't go and mint an under 1,000 inscription. I can't go and mint an under 1 million inscription. Now we're up to 9 million. If I go, I've got, 400 burned NFTs in my collection, right? In Shellz Orb, I could go and mint them to BTC, but will it matter anymore? And that I don't know. And for all intensive purposes, and this may be incredibly unpopular opinion, what is being minted to the Bitcoin blockchain is not art.
And so what is it?
It's really low resolution, crappy JPEGs.
Okay.
They are low quality files. And I'll tell you,
tell us how you feel, Jamieson.
No. Here's the example, okay?
Yeah.
So we'll use DGods as a great example. Shout out to Frank. He is a good founder. You're doing a great job. But the NFTs that are actually minted on ordinals are really low quality. Like, you could barely tell that they're a DGod. But then on Magic Eden, it says DGods with the number from the original collection, and then it has the image from the original collection. So it shows up on Magic Eden as something that is actually not. It's this low resolution image of a DGod. And then on Magic Eden, they're selling something that's almost a lie, I think.
Interesting.
Now, this is unpopular opinion.
Yeah, no,
and there's going to be a lot of BTC guys that are like, Jamieson, JMO, you're an idiot. You're crazy, right? This is provenance. But it's just true.
So, okay, let's go back a step. Are these low quality images because the Bitcoin blockchain cannot support high quality images as of now?
So everything comes down to when you do something on chain, it all comes down to how much space you take up on chain.
Yeah. And
the more space, the more expensive. So if you wanted to store something really high quality on Bitcoin, there's like a limit to how high the block is, to like how much data you can actually put into a Satoshi. But the more data you put in, the more you spend. So the more expensive it is to write it to the blockchain and to get it on there. Bigger files are also harder to get validated, right? So you might have problems uploading them. But yeah, it would just be more expensive. So the guys that are out there minting these things right now, I'm pretty sure they're doing it, quote unquote, the correct way. But it's just not the highest quality art in the world. And there might become generative art.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe there's like this sort of art blocks style movement that happens with the BRC20 protocol. But, only time will tell.
Right. I also think, it's dividing the Bitcoin community. Some people are very critical of what's happening and some people are very excited about it. So, I mean, I feel like ordinals, they've been around for like a few years, but now they're just now coming to fruition and everybody's talking about them. And we'll see, we just have to wait and see if they advance or if it just kind of dies out.
Bitcoin has by far the most quote unquote maxis. So I think Bitcoin ordinals are not really going anywhere. The tools are now there for them to be, readily accessible to fairly non-technical people. And that's when you see like capitulations in like the number of mints, right? When something's really hard to do, and I experienced this in music, because I was a DJ back in the day, but when something's hard to do, there's not that many people that do it. And then as technology advances, right, more and more people can do it, and then it becomes, I guess, quote unquote, less cool or harder to stand out, right? Because if everybody can do something, why are you actually special?
Right.
I'll use another example. The example when I was DJing. So I started DJing in, I don't know, 2002 or something. I started working in nightlife when I was 14 years old. And back then, you had to practice to be a DJ. There was no automatic beat matching. There was nothing called, like sync, right? If you were a bad DJ, you didn't get the job, right? And so you had to practice, put blood, sweat, tears, learn, remember tracks, remember music, find music, right? I spent, probably 20 hours a week preparing to go to a nightclub and DJ for 2 to 4 hours, right? Just getting ready, just being in it. Now, somebody could go and sort of download the top 100 tracks on Beatport, go to a party, and DJ. They don't, the software does everything for you. So therefore, there's a lot more people, there's a lot more DJs, there's a lot more noise to cut through if you want to be the best, the cream of the crop, outstanding, novel, etc. And that's, where I believe, Bitcoin ordinals is at, and probably NFTs in general, right? That's where we were at the end of the bull market, right? We sort of saw the flushing of all these crap projects come through. But what's interesting is that something's come back. Meme coins. Meme coin. It is literally like altcoin spring.
So, Jamieson, let's talk about meme coins. I'm glad you brought this up. What is a meme coin? And I think I'm going to write a book of all this terminology so people can just understand. So, yeah, what is a meme coin?
First of all, I think it should be a children's book.
With meme coins? Or the book?
A terminology.
Oh, right. Yeah,
it should be a term, and big, thick paper, so that it doesn't rip easily because kids have fragile fingers, and it should for children so that people can get their child, like my first cryptocurrency book.
Yeah,
terms.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. And could you imagine a little, 4-year-old running around, Mommy, I need Satoshis. Mommy, I want an NFT. Mommy, I want an NFT.
I feel like the people that you and I know have kids that are already doing this. I feel like.
Oh.
I don't have kids, so I don't know, but
I don't have kids either, that I know of. But everybody that works for me has kids. Literally almost everybody in my community has kids.
Yeah.
And we were just at VCon a year before. I met a gentleman there, and we went out to dinner, and he really made me realize that NFTs, obviously they're ageless, right? There's people that are 14, like my homie Nick Smalls, aka my son, sort of, not really, that are in NFTs, and then there's 45, 35, 60-year-old people. But where in NFTs become interesting are your 35 to 55-year-old range, because this is when, as humans, we have the most disposable income and the least things to do with it. Right? We're no longer going out with friends or whatever. We kind of stay home with the family. We have maybe a couple $1,000s extra each month, which we didn't have when we were in our 20s. And we could spend them on really dumb things like JPEGs. Which, by the way, they're not dumb. They're wonderful. They're beautiful. It's art. But, what 20-year-old is going to go out and spend, $300 on an NFT when, they need that money for lunch or for beer or pot or whatever else.
All the important elements of life.
Yeah, whatever else you need to get yourself through college.
Right.
To the end.
Okay, Jamieson, back to meme coins. What is a meme coin?
So a meme coin is an ERC20 token that has absolutely no utility whatsoever. None.
Example.
Zero. No use case. Pepe.
Okay.
Pepe is a new one.
That's that frog.
Pepe is the little frog. Pepe is probably one of the most popular memes in NFTs in crypto. I believe it started as BTC Pepes a very long time ago, and there's been multiple Pepe collections. One of my favorite GIFs is actually a GIF of this little Pepe dancing.
Maybe we can throw that up on the video.
I actually recreated it for our own collection. I made a little turtle dancing.
Oh, cool.
Because it just made me happy every single time that I looked at it. The most popular meme coin was Doge.
Right, but it has like value. But it started off with no value?
No. It has no value.
It still has no value? I don't know what Doge is at right now.
I don't. It has value, but there's like not a real use case.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you could really do with it. It just sort of lives on Ethereum, and you can trade it back and forth. Excuse me. And you can trade it back and forth, but people can't do that much with it.
Right.
I mean, Elon really wants to bring it back, and he wants you to be able to, pay people in Dogecoin. But is that really going to happen? Is that like, it's not a main coin. It's still an altcoin.
Yeah.
And see, the thing about the difference between a meme coin and an altcoin.
Uh-huh.
An altcoin actually has an ecosystem that it benefits.
Right.
Right. So,
like Algorand.
Algo. Right. You have Algo, or you have Matic on Polygon, right? Matic is the ecosystem token. You need this token to do things in that ecosystem.
Right.
And so the value comes from the demand of these tokens to be used inside of the ecosystem. Meme coins don't have that. There's no demand for them to be used inside of an ecosystem. There's just speculation, FOMO, and hype.
Yeah. No, I'm really glad you explained that. You actually explained it very, very well, giving those examples. Dogecoin, back to that, it was like in 2017 or 2018. I'm blanking on his name, but I met him at a conference.
Elon?
No, not Elon. Who created Dogecoin?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, so him. I'm blanking on his name.
He didn't take it to 80 cents.
He told me
Elon did.
Right. He told me Dogecoin was created as a joke.
Correct.
Like it was just, it's like Shiba Inu, right? Like the dog.
Also a joke.
Super cute.
Sure.
Right, but it's like, it was all a joke, and then all of a sudden, and it wasn't benefiting any ecosystem, and then all of a sudden, like Elon Musk started tweeting about it, and it blew up.
Hype.
Right, hype.
Supply,
so these
supply
are meme
and
coins.
Demand.
Right.
So like the meme coin industry is super interesting because it's like supply, demand, hype, liquidity, right? And so some of these coins, they only have a couple $1 million of liquidity, which means if you want to buy $1 million of these coins and you successfully get into $1 million position, you've driven the price up by maybe 2, 3, 4x, 10x, 20x. So you can see these like really wild swings in the price because there's just not that much liquidity. Now, you compare that to something like Ethereum, right? If I want to swap, like USDC stablecoin to Ethereum, and I want to swap, $15 million of it, I can do that with like probably less than a 0.5% slippage. Slippage is the difference between the price you think you're going to get and the price that you get because of the volume of the transaction. Because liquidity pools are based on these curves, right? So the average price per coin that you actually pay. But meme coins, you can really, with a little bit of money, you could really up the trajectory.
Right. I mean, I could create a meme coin. Anybody could create a meme coin.
You could.
Yeah, I could create one based off of like my Bijan
Wolf token.
Cami, or Wolf token.
Wolf token.
Right.
And we could drive it to the moon.
You think?
Yeah.
We should do an experiment.
We could create Wolf token. Literally creating an ERC20 token is right now it's super easy. Anyone can do it.
How do you do it?
There's literally websites that just kind of
token.
help you.
And then you just like put it out into the world on Twitter and stuff.
Correct. And then you apply certain mechanics to it. You create a website. You say why this thing is going to go to the moon or not to the moon. And then if you get enough people to talk about it, for instance, there's one that just launched called Love.
I haven't heard of it. I haven't heard of that one.
I think it's something like 253,000 mentions of dollar love.
Okay.
In the last, I don't know, however many days. It just launched. I actually got pitched it.
Yeah.
For our community.
Okay.
And I said no. I can't bring this garbage to our community. And maybe I should have. Maybe I should have given it to our community, taken some of these love tokens and
spread the love.
I don't know. Maybe I could be rich right now. Maybe I could buy a house in Austin or like a big private yacht or, something that can compete with Jeff Bezos out there in, San Tropez or something.
This just shows the power of meme coins. But before we got started with our podcast conversation here, you mentioned something like meme coins are going away. Like, is that what you said?
Oh, yeah. So it was interesting. We're filming this podcast at the end of May. I believe it's the last day in May.
Yes.
Today. So you might be seeing this
in about a month.
In about a month.
Yeah.
But for the last month, pretty much all of May, meme coins have been in season. And since meme coins have such a large supply and can have so many transactions, Gwei, which is the unit of gas measurement on the Ethereum blockchain, and it's sort of like the price. It's called gas. The higher Gwei is, the higher gas you have to pay, and the more in dollars and Ethereum it costs to process a transaction. Gwei was like over 100. It rarely dipped below 60 for a while, which, by the way, is good for the Ethereum blockchain because now under proof of stake protocol, it is actually slightly deflating, and we're burning more Ethereum every single day because all of that gas that you spend actually just disappears. It gets burned. It's gone forever. No more Gwei. Like all of it, like that $15 you paid to purchase an NFT and transfer it to your wallet, it's gone. Goes to nobody. Just burned. Disappears.
So basically in June will not be the month of meme coins is what you're predicting, or moving forward,
right.
No more meme coins, or?
So Gwei is starting to like go down a little bit. Right, it's I think we were hitting 30s today. We're at 60, etc. And I think that people are just forgetting about it. And one of the reasons why I think meme coin season is over is because there's a lot of NFT collections this week that are pumping, and so there's collections that are up 20, 30, 40% this week, and that tells me. Meme coin season is over. During other seasons, liquidity is really low. Like during, some of these Black Swan events like Terra Luna and the FTX crash, liquidity in NFTs just goes out the roof. And if there's no buyers, the floor price just keeps going down because sellers want to get out, right? And so you can have collections go down, 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 and down until the buyers return and they're like, oh, let me sweep up all these cheap NFTs. Gas is reasonable again, and
So what are your thoughts on, I actually wanted to ask you this before, but then we got sidetracked. Your thoughts on collections, and I'm wondering if Shellz Orb is going to do this, where there's like a main collection, but then there's a more affordable collection. What are your thoughts on that, and do you have plans to do that with Shellz Orb?
Yeah, so we launched in the bear market, and Shellz Orb already became an affordable collection. It dips down to prices of like $50, $60. We didn't have the bull run mentality or sort of like the bull run hype, etc., like surrounding us, and we also, we didn't have any crazy pedigree founders or pedigree team that kind of would have like helped boost us up. We didn't use any influencers in order to launch. Just did a lot of partnerships. Partnered with 250 projects pre-launch to go, and we're flipping the script. So a lot of projects created these like more affordable collections, and we're actually going the other way. So we're going to create a more rare, less affordable collection because our original collection is already affordable. So the Tracks is our next collection. Related and unrelated. It's these two competing worlds in an ecosystem for our television show, where Shellz, which are turtles, they live above ground, and the Tracks, they're humanistic characters, and they live below ground. So we're now going to have two collections of these two characters that are going into this animated series that the Nice brothers of Netflix's show Umbrella Academy.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It's like a #1 hit show.
Yeah, I watched it.
And so they're executive producers. They're writing a show for us. As soon as the WGA, Writers Guild Association, goes off of strike, we will be going to the networks and pitching this TV show. But, we did a lot of, in this bear market, I went through, so we started producing this next collection a year ago. Literally, like before we even launched Shellz, we were producing this collection that's coming out in June. And just to show you how long it really takes to make the art, we went through so many different mechanics of how to put this thing out, and it really only makes sense to create really limited supply. I think we're going to do about 1,000 or 1,500 tokens, and we're just going to make it really, 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 really rare.
Cool.
And so Shellz Orb will be the cheap, affordable collection, maybe, or maybe it'll go up in value. I don't know, but we're just going to try something different.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Good to know. So we've got to wrap things up. I mean, I could talk to you for hours, and yeah, unfortunately.
I hate being told to wrap it up.
Yeah, it sucks. But before we do, wrap it up, you can come back, Jamieson. We can talk more about. Said. Yeah, I know. We can talk more about NFTs. But what about your mustache? So wait, let me just tell a really funny story. So I meet a lot of people, but I remembered meeting you in Vegas last year, mainly because, well, your personality. But
I happen to have one.
Yeah,
and NFTs and Web3.
Yeah, it's rare to find.
It's super rare.
Rare to find.
That's the real rarity right there.
Right, that's true. But you have this mustache, which if people are watching the YouTube, they can see it. So what's the story behind it?
So, in 2015, I was going over to Europe, and I found these flights through Moscow for like $300 round trip to Berlin. I wanted to go to Berlin and Germany for, kind of like winter, like New Year's and stuff. And so I'm going to Russia, and at this time, there's no war there or anything yet, but I'm like, I really don't want to look like an American. How am I gonna avoid looking like an American? And so I thought to myself, well, let me grow a beard. So I start growing this beard. I come back to the States. I moved to Los Angeles, where beards are really popular. And 2015 was like the year of the Instagram beard. And I'm meeting all these dudes, and they've all got like really great beards and tattoos, and they're ripped. And I start hashtagging beard gang on Instagram, and all of a sudden my like 2,000 followers goes to 20,000, and I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing, this is crazy, wow. And so one day I'm with my girlfriend at the time, we're driving around, and I'm like, I've seen these guys with these like mustaches that sort of like go like this. I think they do it with mustache wax. Let's go find some. So we ended up finding some mustache wax. And it was pretty long at the time, and I just started twirling it up. And people used to come up to me and say, hey, like, nice beard. And they stopped saying nice beard. They started saying, hey, nice mustache. And after people just sort of saying nice mustache for long enough, I just got rid of the beard. And the mustache stayed. I shaved it off once or twice, but just like you were able to remember me because of the mustache, in times when you're going to these conferences, and like one of the ways that I promote Web3 and I promote what we're doing is going to conferences, it really helps to be remembered. It really helps, being kind and being a good person is also a requirement, and doing cool shit is also a requirement. But if you're in any way remotely rememberable, and you have great wardrobe choices.
Thank you. I put a lot of time and effort into that.
When we met, I mistaked her because I saw her badge. It said Rachel Wolfson, I thought, but it really said Rachel Wolfson.
Yeah.
And so that's why I sort of like went up to her. But she was wearing this beautiful white dress, and I was like, oh, okay, this chick is dope. She doesn't look like just every ordinary crypto nerd in a black hoodie. Maybe she's interesting, right? Or I'll remember her. And that's really important. So I brought the mustache back for crypto and these events, and it helps.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah. No, I actually like that. It's a good way to end this show because, I think we should have like these words of wisdom. And I mean, seriously, I meet so many people, as do you, and people will like message me the next day. I'm like, who are you? But people with certain traits and qualities like the NFT collection that stand out, I remember them. So your mustache, great idea. Moral of the story.
Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah. Anytime. Okay, Jamieson. So if our listeners want to get in touch with you or chat with you or talk to you about your mustache, where do they go?
So you could find me on Twitter, Jamieson Hill, JamiesonHill. Also on Instagram, same handle. I'm not on TikTok.
Me either.
Yeah, I think you could if you get into my Discord via @Shellz Orb, SHELLZORB, and you follow the link there, you can get into the Discord and you can try to chat with me in there if I miss your calls. Or on Twitter, you could do notify all, and you should show up to like some of my Twitter spaces and request up, and we can have a live in person, or not in person, but a live in virtual person in the metaverse conversation.
Right. In the metaverse.
In the metaverse.
That's a more proper way of saying it. Cool. Okay. Well, thanks, Jamieson.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Thank you to Web3 Deep Dive's executive producer, Deanna Dial-Worsta. Thank you to Web3 Deep Dive's director, Alex Wilcox. And thank you to Web3 Deep Dive's producer, Mark Gammo. I also want to thank Donna Albo for providing the music for this podcast. And of course, thank you to the listeners for joining us for this episode of Web3 Deep Dive. If you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, and share so you can help spread the love and get the word out there about Web3 Deep Dive. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.